2025's already been stacked for PC gamers. From January to August, we've had big releases across every genre, and the best part is, they're all playable right now. No waiting, no delays, just games ready to go. So let's jump in. Here are 20 of the best PC games you can get your hands on today. Let's jump to number 20. Mafia. The Old Country is not your usual open-world crime story. This one takes us way back, early 1900s Sicily. You're stepping into the shoes of Enzo Favara, a guy who starts out working the brutal sulfur mines and slowly gets tangled up with the Teresi crime family. It's gritty, it's personal, and honestly, it feels more like watching an old-school mafia film than playing a sandbox game. The structure here is, more linear, so don't expect a giant map filled with distractions. Instead, the game leans on atmosphere and storytelling. You've got a mix of gunfights, some really tense stealth sections, brutal melee combat, and yeah, even horse riding next to those classic cars. It feels deliberate, like every mission is pushing Enzo deeper into that world of honor, betrayal, and survival. One thing I think is really cool, they went full authentic with it. And with Unreal Engine 5 carrying the visuals, Sicily looks both beautiful and dangerous at the same time. It's not super long, maybe 10-12 hours tops, but honestly, that works in its favor. It's tight, no filler, just a focused narrative with strong performances and cinematic pacing. Next to number 19. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth kind of feels like a dream JRPG, big, emotional, and cinematic. The story picks up right after the escape from Midgar, and now the crew heads into this massive open world with forests, deserts, and seaside towns that feel alive in ways the original never could. You can play wise, it blends fast action with the old ATB system, and it just clicks. You've got aerial combos, synergy moves between party members, chocobos for travel, even vehicles to mess around with. Every character plays differently, which makes swapping mid-battle actually fun instead of a chore. The scope here is wild, like 50 hours of main story and tons of side missions. Some of those side activities are great. Some, they can feel like filler. But when the story kicks in, with all the big character moments and cinematic sequences, it's hard not to get hooked. And visually, stunning. The world feels handcrafted, every area bursting with detail, and the soundtrack still carries that emotional punch that fans love. Feels young people, it's not perfect, pacing dips here and there, but honestly, if you care about JRPGs, this one's hard to skip. It's massive, heartfelt, and it pushes the remake project to a whole new level. Wuchang Fallen Feathers takes you on a dark, Souls-like journey set in an alternate Ming Dynasty China. A strange plague called the Feathering twists people into monsters, and even Wuchang herself carries a cursed feathered power. Combat here is punishing but stylish. You've got swords, axes, spears, dual blades, plus some magic on top. The system mixes dodges, parries, and this skyborn might energy that fuels special skills. Then there's the madness mechanic. Push it too far and you get stronger, but your body breaks down until your inner demon literally shows up to fight you. Exploration sticks to that Souls-like DNA. Ruined villages, haunted temples, cursed roads that loop back into each other. Your choices matter too, with multiple endings shaping how Wuchang's journey closes. The skill system is flexible. You can respec anytime, experiment with weapons, and keep your style intact with transmog armor. Visually, it's gorgeous but grim, full of eerie color and cinematic boss encounters. Still, it's not without flaws. Some players feel it leans too heavy on the usual Souls-like formula. And a recent patch even softens certain story beats in ways that break the tone. Number 17. Let's talk about Lost Records Bloom and Rage. So this one drops you back in the summer of '95, where you play as Swan, a quiet teenager who's always behind her camcorder. She's hanging out with her crew, Nora, Kat, and Autumn, in this small town called Velvet Cove. At first, it's just late-night hangouts, music, and, teenage chaos. The cool part? The camcorder isn't just a prop. It's basically how you play. You can record people, little moments, and then edit them into these short films. It feels super nostalgic. Conversations are totally free-flowing. You can interrupt, stay quiet, or steer things in your own direction, which makes the relationships feel alive. And honestly, the bond between the four girls feels messy, but in the best way. Real arguments, real laughs, that awkward teenage energy, it's all there. Visually, the game leans hard into that dreamy 90s vibe. Think VHS static, soft lighting, and a soundtrack that feels like it belongs on an old mixtape. It's slow at times, sure, but it works. It gives space for the mystery and the emotions to breathe. Number 16. Sniper Elite Resistance takes place in Nazi-occupied France in 1944. You're playing as Harry Hawker, a fresh face in the series, yet already got that gritty resolver vibe. He's part of the SOE and gets thrown into a high-stakes mission to stop a freaky new Nazi superweapon that could basically tilt the war in their favor. The gameplay? Classic Sniper Elite. Big sandbox maps, total line-of-sight tactics, and that iconic X-ray kill cam where bullets carve through bones in slow-mo, and it's disturbingly satisfying. You've got to calculate wind, gravity, Hawker's heartbeat, real sniper stuff. But they did throw in some fresh vibes. Propaganda missions, these time-limited mini-operations where you sneak and snipe to burn Nazi posters and sneak info for the resistance. There's also that Axis invasion mode where other players can jump into your campaign as enemy snipers. Still, it's not all headshots and glory. Reviewers say it's very much Sniper Elite 5 Redux. Solid, but not groundbreaking. And there's clunky controls here and there, plus the AI and level layouts aren't always consistent. Number 15. Game of Thrones, Kingsroad sets you in a version of Westeros built for exploration. With a vast open world, a heavy dark fantasy feel, and a narrative rooted in the Game of Thrones universe. You're cast as a bastard from House Tyre in the north, and things kick off after your brother's death and winter looms. Suddenly, you're juggling power plays, drifting alliances, caring about White Walkers, while trying not to freeze your butt at Castle Black. Gameplay-wise, it's action RPG without the auto battle, fully manual sword fights, dodging, parrying. You're doing the heavy lifting each fight. You choose between knight, sellsword, or assassin classes, each with its own flavor depending on how you want to wreak havoc. And yes, there's real-time co-op. Imagine storming the Weirwood Forest with your crew, taking down mythic beasts for sweet loot and crafting gear. Stark enough, right? But this isn't just your average ride through Westeros. Folks are calling out that it leans heavily into mobile-style paywalls, energy systems, time gates, and microtransactions that pop up at the least convenient times. The world is beautiful, the lore feels right, but those pay-to-progress mechanics kind of spoil the sword-swinging vibe. Number 14. Eriksholm, The Stolen Dream, throws you into this grim, industrial-era Scandinavian city, following Hannah, a young orphan whose brother, Herman, mysteriously disappears. The gameplay is stealth-focused, but also strategic. You can switch between Hannah, Alva, and Sebastian, each with their own unique skills like Hannah's agility, Alva's lockpicking, and Sebastian's brute strength. Planning your moves, sneaking past guards, and using the environment creatively is key, because one wrong step can blow your cover. Puzzles and environmental challenges keep things fresh, making you think before acting. Narratively, the game is all about uncovering a layered mystery. Hannah's search for her brother leads her into alliances, betrayals, and moral dilemmas, with the city itself almost feeling alive. Every corner hints at a hidden story, and the Industrial Revolution-era setting adds this weighty, atmospheric vibe. Visually, the isometric perspective works perfectly for stealth and strategy, letting you scope out areas and plan your approach. The cutscenes and character interactions deepen the emotional impact, making you genuinely care about Hannah and her friends. Number 13. Doom: The Dark Ages takes the Doom franchise way back, centuries before the 2016 reboot, and drops you into a brutal medieval fantasy world. You're the Doomslayer, but this time, it's not just guns and demons in modern settings. You've got castles, dark forests, and infernal landscapes full of hellish creatures. Combat still hits hard, but it's got some fresh twists. You can stand and fight with shields and parry mechanics, making melee feel tense and rewarding. Weapons like the Shield Saw and Skull Crusher mix up your options, and, yes, you can even pilot giant Atlan mechs or ride cyber dragons. The pace isn't as lightning fast as previous games, but each fight is satisfying and strategic. The story digs into the origins of the Slayer. You see how a mortal became the unstoppable warrior we know, with motivations, battles, and moments that add weight to the lore. It's all wrapped in a world that's grim, violent, and epic. Totally medieval, but still very Doom. Visually, it's gorgeous. Firelit castles, hellish skies, and massive detailed demons. The soundtrack pumps that same adrenaline as classic Doom, keeping your heart racing whether you're hacking through enemies or navigating treacherous environments. Number 12. RoboCop, Rogue City. Unfinished business drops you into Detroit's streets again, but expect combat that takes you from alleys to towering buildings. You're heading into Omni Tower, a massive high-rise that's been overrun by mercs, and your job is to reclaim it floor by floor. It's tense, fast, and yeah, kind of brutal in that classic RoboCop way. You can actually control an ED-209 in some sections. Yeah, that hulking robot is back to stomping baddies. And there's a new cryo cannon that lets you freeze enemies solid before smashing them. And there are flashback missions too, giving you a peek at Alex Murphy before he became RoboCop, which kinda adds weight to every decision you make in the present. Combat is still solid, mixing ranged precision with brutal melee takedowns, but the new vertical tower design keeps you thinking about positioning, line of sight, and when to deploy your gadgets. Visually, Omni Tower is impressive. Detailed interiors, neon lights, and chaos on every floor. Sound design hits hard too, from RoboCop's mechanical steps to the hum of high-tech weaponry. It's not a total overhaul, but it's a solid expansion for fans who want more RoboCop action, lore, and mayhem. Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon throws you into a grim, post-Arthurian world where Avalon has fallen to corruption. The weirdness has twisted the land, nightmares roam freely, and society is on the edge of collapse. Gameplay is first-person RPG, though you can switch to third-person if you want, but the first-person feels way more immersive. Combat mixes weapons, magic, and dual wielding, letting you play as stealthy archers, alchemist berserkers, or something in between. Exploration's massive. You'll roam 3 huge zones full of quests, hidden loot, and secrets that reward curiosity. Planning your approach matters because some encounters are brutal if you just rush in. Narratively, the game is rich. Fully voiced characters, branching storylines, and multiple endings mean you actually care about who survives and who falls. The moral dilemmas aren't just for show. They make you pause before acting, which is rare in a lot of RPGs. Visually, the game nails that dark fantasy vibe with surreal, gothic landscapes. It's moody, detailed, and at times haunting. Perfect for players who love a deep, immersive world with stakes that feel real. Number 10. Dynasty Warriors Origins is like the latest entry in the long-running hack-and-slash franchise, and it really tries to push the formula further while keeping that classic 1 versus thousands chaos. You step into the role of a nameless warrior, and instead of just following one historical figure, the story blends perspectives from multiple generals, which makes it feel kind of fresher. The combat has this faster flow, attacks chain smoother, and the new counter system adds a layer of timing and risk. Yeah, it still has the massive battlefields where you cut down endless soldiers, but now the AI officers are way smarter, they actually chase objectives, so it feels less like you're just mowing down brainless mobs. The graphics, powered by Unreal Engine 5, finally give us environments that look alive. Dust storms sweep across deserts, and castle sieges look massive, with fire raining from the sky. Multiplayer also got expanded, letting you coordinate with allies in big online battles, which is, honestly, something fans have wanted for years. It's both nostalgic and forward-looking, making Origins one of the strongest Dynasty Warriors games in like a very long time. Number 9. Lies of P. Overture is kind of like a bold expansion of the Pinocchio-inspired Souls-like that blew everyone away back in 2023. This one picks up after the first game's ending, where the city of Krat is barely holding itself together. And yeah, the atmosphere is even darker now. The combat feels tighter, faster, with more emphasis on parries and those risky perfect dodges. They introduced this new mechanic called the puppet strings, where you can pull enemies or objects toward you, adding both mobility and creativity to fights. Weapons are modular again, so mixing blades and handles gives you hundreds of possible combos, and honestly, it feels addicting. The environments are gorgeous but disturbing. Imagine twisted carnivals, puppet theaters falling apart, and entire streets filled with broken automatons that whisper as you pass by. The bosses are massive, theatrical, and really push you to learn patterns instead of just rushing in. Story-wise, Overture leans heavier on choice, like who you trust and how much of your humanity you're willing to give up, which makes every decision feel heavier. It's stylish, challenging, and yeah, one of those games that just sticks with you after you turn it off. Number 8. Okay, so Split Fiction dropped on March 6, 2025 on PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC, and then landed on Switch 2 on June 5th. And yeah, it's already being hailed as one of the most inventive co-op games this year. You and a friend take on the roles of Mio and Zoe, two very different writers, one into sci-fi, the other deep into fantasy, who get trapped in each other's stories through this glitchy publishing device. From the start, it feels like you're starring in a buddy movie where cooperation is literally survival. Gameplay constantly flips between genres. One moment you're riding dragons through a lush fantasy sky, the next you're in sci-fi combat zones, maybe even controlling a spherical robot or a gravity warping vehicle. Every level brings a fresh mechanic like laser sword combat or commanding creatures, creating this wild cinematic flow that just keeps surprising you. Critically, Split Fiction has earned universal acclaim, like near-perfect scores on Metacritic, and broke records as the fastest-selling local co-op game on Steam, plus fastest to hit 1 Elm and 2 Elm copies in just days. It supports full crossplay and includes that Player 1 buys it, Player 2 joins for free magic via the Friends Pass, making it super accessible. Hazelight nailed the balance: story, innovation, and platforming, all with their signature emotional beats. It's not just another co-op game, it's an experience that pushes the genre forward, and honestly, once you've played it, you just keep wanting to talk about it. Number 7. Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah, this one really pushes the franchise into an even bigger stage. You step into this vast open ecosystem where every hunt feels alive, and the monsters, they're not just big targets, they're part of the world itself. You can see them hunt each other, fight over territory, or even chase you across different biomes. The game builds on that classic Monster Hunter formula of tracking, preparing, and finally clashing with these insanely detailed creatures, but now it's way more seamless. And honestly, the new weapon adjustments make every fight feel so dynamic. You can switch styles mid-combat, chain crazy combos, and yeah, survive those moments where one mistake could cost you everything. Co-op, as always, is a huge part of the fun. Hunting with friends, setting up strategies, or just running around screaming when a dragon swoops in, it's pure chaos, but in the best way possible. Monster Hunter Wilds isn't just about grinding for gear, it's about building stories, those unforgettable hunts where you barely escape alive or take down something massive with only seconds left. Number 6. Atomfall is one of those games that surprises you with how real and haunting its setting feels. It takes place in this alternate history Britain after a nuclear disaster, and man, the atmosphere is so thick you can almost feel the radiation in the air. You're exploring abandoned towns, forests, and strange facilities, piecing together what went wrong, while dealing with mutated creatures and desperate survivors. What's cool is the mix. It's survival, exploration, but also narrative-driven. The characters you meet feel, human, flawed, scared, or maybe dangerous. And the choices you make, who you trust, what you sacrifice, actually matter in shaping your path forward. Combat isn't over the top, but it's tense, with limited ammo and resources that make every bullet count. And yeah, there's this eerie quietness in some areas, broken by sudden threats that keep you on edge. Atomfall isn't just about post-apocalyptic survival. It's about the human side of catastrophe, and how people cling to hope or power when everything else is gone. Number 5. Blade of Fire, honestly, feels like stepping straight into an epic fantasy legend. You're this warrior bound to a living flame, and the whole game builds around mastering both your blade and this elemental power that constantly pushes you to the limit. The combat is, super fast-paced, but also layered. You're not just button mashing. You're weaving flame strikes, dodges, counters, and timing everything so you don't overheat and burn out mid-battle. The world is gorgeous but dangerous, with kingdoms crumbling, corrupted beasts roaming the land, and secrets hidden in ruins waiting to be uncovered. What's amazing is how the story ties your progression to the fire itself. It's not just a weapon, it's kind of alive, testing your willpower, whispering, tempting you. That struggle adds weight to every choice you make, like whether to unleash its full destructive force or restrain it for the greater good. And the boss fights, huge, cinematic, heart-pounding, they feel like trials, both for your skills and for your character's soul. Blade of Fire is more than a fantasy hack and slash. It's this journey of power, control, and the fine line between heroism and destruction. Number 4. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, it's, honestly, one of the most unique RPGs we've ever seen. The world is like this twisted, dreamlike version of Belle Epoque France, where everything feels both elegant and horrifying at the same time. You're part of Expedition 33, this group that's basically humanity's last hope, and your mission is to face the mysterious being known as the Paintress. Now, what makes this game super fascinating is how it blends traditional turn-based combat with real-time mechanics. You actually need timing, precision, and strategy, not just spamming attacks. The art direction? Like breathtaking. Streets look gorgeous, but also eerie, with surreal structures that make you feel lost in a painting. And the storytelling hits hard. It's all about life, death, and resisting this endless cycle of despair. It's not just a fight for survival, it feels personal, like you're carrying the weight of a doomed world. If you're into games that mix beauty and tragedy in equal measure, Clair Obscur is, kind of unforgettable. Number 3. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is like pure adrenaline. If you've played the older Ninja Gaiden titles, you know they don't mess around. This one pushes that difficulty to the max, but still feels incredibly rewarding. You step into the shoes of Ryu Hayabusa, and the moment you start swinging that dragon sword, the pace just doesn't let up. Combat is ridiculously fast, bloody, and brutal, and every single enemy feels like they're designed to punish your mistakes. But that's what makes it so addicting. When you finally master the combos, dodge perfectly, and land those devastating finishers, you feel unstoppable. The environments are super diverse too, from gothic castles to fiery caverns, and each boss fight is an event. Honestly, it's one of those games where you rage, you curse, but you keep coming back because victory feels that good. For fans of hardcore action, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is basically a rite of passage. You survive it, and you feel like, yeah, a real warrior. Number 2. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is, honestly, everything fans wanted and more. Swinging through New York has never felt this smooth. It's like Insomniac took the already amazing mechanics from the first game and just, pushed them to perfection. You play as both Peter Parker and Miles Morales, switching between them with unique powers and movesets that keep combat fresh and dynamic. The story goes deeper than ever, especially with Venom entering the picture. It's dark, emotional, and kind of heartbreaking at times, showing how Peter and Miles balance hero life with personal struggles. The city feels alive too, with more side missions, villains, and random events that make you feel like a real protector of New York. Combat-wise, it's explosive. You've got symbiote powers, bioelectric abilities, and those cinematic finishers that just never get old. It's not just a superhero game, it's like living the Spider-Man fantasy in the most epic way possible. Honestly, this one is a must-play for any fan of action or Marvel in general. Number 1. Elden Ring Nightreign is honestly one of the most anticipated expansions in the Souls-like world right now. Like the moment From Software announced it, fans were already comparing the scale to Shadow of the Erdtree. But this time, it feels darker, heavier, and even more mysterious. The story throws you into a land where the Erdtree's light has almost completely faded, and what remains is this oppressive eternal night that twists everything around it. You're not just exploring ruins anymore, you're kind of like walking through places where the boundary between dreams, death, and reality feels blurred. The enemies here look absolutely terrifying, with new bosses that almost redefine what it means to be grotesque, yet beautiful at the same time. And the open world design is expanded with fresh dungeons, towering castles, and hidden caverns that reward those who dare to stray off the path. What makes it even more exciting is how combat is evolving. There are fresh weapon arts, expanded sorceries, and enemies that push you to adapt constantly. It's not just another DLC, it feels like a full continuation of the Elden Ring legacy. If you thought the original game was massive, Nightreign is here to, push that limit again and remind you why this series is legendary. So yeah, those were the most exciting games we've got this year. Each one feels like really different, but still pushes action RPGs and Souls-like vibes to a whole new level. Honestly, it's a crazy good time to be a gamer right now. Which one do you think stands out the most? Let me know, and yeah, see you in the next video.